welcome to the Victor Valley College Communications Center Speech Contest. My name is Kylie, and I'll be getting us started today. Throughout the event, you'll also hear from Leah, Jazzy, and Paul as we rotate through speaker introductions. We're really glad to have you guys here today. Events like this represent so much of what the Communication Center is all about. We stand for growth, confidence, connection, and students challenging themselves in meaningful ways. Public speaking takes courage. It asks people to trust their voice, share their ideas, and step into a space that can feel uncomfortable at first. Every student speaking today has already done that work and deserves recognition. We'd also like to acknowledge the people that help make these spaces possible. Ray, our instructional assistant, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that you do behind the scenes. This is probably his last speech contest. I won't, probably his last one, so make sure he gets extra kudos there. And Miss Kay, our facilitator, thank you for your guidance, encouragement, and support that you continuously give to this program and everyone in it. I'd like to invite you to say a few words.
Good afternoon. How are we feeling today? Good. Woo! I want to thank you all for being here today, for supporting both students and the Communication Center. Seeing a room filled with faculty, staff, friends, family, and peers truly means a great deal. And I cannot tell you how much it means to us and our staff for you being here today. The Communication Center is such a special part of this campus because it gives students a place to practice, to collaborate, and to build confidence. In the communication skills, in the Communication Center, we support an environment that is collaborative, that coordinates support for all students, and we wouldn't be who we are today without the support from you all here. Events like this take a great deal of coordination and support behind the scenes, and I'm incredibly grateful for everyone who contributed their time, energy to make this contest possible. I'd like to extend a sincere thank you to our judges in the back for volunteering their time and expertise. Excuse me. I totally lost my train of thought. This is public speaking at its finest. We'd like to send a sincere thank you to our judges for volunteering your time and expertise this afternoon. First, we'd like to thank Kelly Cahow, who is the Dean of Instructions, for joining us and supporting both the students and the Communication Center. Second, we would like to extend a happy welcome to our Professor Isa in our sociology department. He's my buddy, who continues to support students' learning and engagement and is deeply appreciated. And third, we'd like to honor April Benarl, instructor of ASL, joining us today along with their interpreter. This is our first time incorporating ASL at this event, and we are truly grateful for the opportunity to continue making spaces like this to be more inclusive to our students and our community. I also want to recognize Jackie Augustine. Jackie is a professor in the communication department and has graced our presence for the last 38 years. Also, I want to recognize my incredible team, my staff, who helped me organize this today and support this event. Our Communication Center tutor and staff, Ray, Kylie, Leah, Ash, Yuli, Adam, Paula, Jazzy, Micah, and with ASL, our Adrina, and our Spanish tutors, Rebecca and Indovina. Your time, energy, and dedication make the Communication Center what it is. They work so hard and create such a welcoming and supporting environment every day. And I especially want to thank the VVC Foundation. I want to thank ASB, and I want to thank the Calendish Scholarship Fund for helping support the opportunity like this for our students on campus community. Without them, none of this would be possible. I want to thank you again for all who came today and everyone who helped make this possible. I hope you enjoy the contest. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kay. Before we begin, just a quick reminder, we'd love for you to go ahead and turn off your cell phones, make sure that they're on silent, just so that they don't interrupt the contestants while they're up here. There's nothing more nerve-wracking than a bunch of lights on you and then a phone going off. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna hand it over to Leah to introduce our first speaker. Make sure that when the speakers come in, you're giving them a warm welcome and then a gratitude, gracious clap. Thank you.
Thank you, Kylie. Our first speaker is Zachary Church. Zachary is studying political science and is motivated by his goals and ambitions. Please welcome Zachary to the stage, everyone.
I want you to vote for me in 2040 so that I can become President of the United States of America. This is why I am studying political science, as I want to enact federal change to aid the people of the United States. The hardships that presidents have faced have been vital to how they form their beliefs. That is why I want to bring you back and give insight into my hardships. Because FDR, he was born wealthy, yet he understood the plight of the working class as he interacted with them while he was undergoing treatment for polio. Lincoln was born impoverished, yet he taught himself law with no formal education and got admitted to the bar. When I was young, my mother suffered from multiple debilitating diseases, and she could not get gainful employment, leaving us reliant on government aid. And at the same time, I watched my father work more than 60 hours a week and still remain unable to pay for his medical bills. And when it came time for me to step into this world, I could not register for classes, nor could I receive the essential financial aid I needed due to government ineptitude. And when I was finally able to register and attend classes, I encountered a multitude of issues: familial, financial, medical, academically, and issues with my peers. I stumbled and I failed, but even through these hardships, it gave me something invaluable: resilience, the ability to remain resilient even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. But with these hardships in mind, there are still many positive, impactful experiences I have had on campus. And the most meaningful of these experiences thus far has been the political science class instructed by Dr. Julia Wendt. This class has reinforced my strengths, and it has weakened my doubts. And if it weren't for this class, I wouldn't be as staunch in my beliefs. These experiences have led me to this moment, because I've beat the odds, and I keep going, which I can attribute a significant portion of my ability to keep going to this college, the options it gives, the resources it has provided, and the fact that it has not given up on me even when I wanted to. Now, I enter every day with renewed zeal and passion. Even when I do not want to get out of bed and go to class, I still get up and I still give it everything I have. In the immortal words of FDR, the only thing to fear is fear itself. To me, this means that we cannot let the maybes and the what-ifs control our lives, as it is what we do that matters. And in the future, when I become president, I want to eliminate suffering. I want to live in a nation where no one goes without a roof over their head, A nation where no one goes without food in their stomachs. A nation where you do not have to forego education due to its cost. And a nation where you do not have to ration your insulin. I want everybody to be able to call themselves proud to be an American because there will be no suffering. And I want us to maintain hope that we will live in a nation without suffering. If it were not for this college and the resources it has provided to me, I would not be here today. And if it weren't for these experiences I've had, especially those on campus and over the past year, I would not be nearly as staunch in my beliefs that not only is change necessary, but it will happen. That is why I am asking you not to vote just for me in 2040, but for progress over regress.
So next, we have Sienna Hall, a business major who enjoys connecting with people. And Sienna says one of her favorite parts about VVC has been the relationships she's built here. Let's give it up for Sienna.
When I first saw the prompt, it was challenging because I never really thought about any specific meaningful experience that I've had at Victor Valley College. That was until I looked more into where I am in my life now, and I realized that Victor Valley College hasn't given me just one meaningful experience, but it has given me multiple experiences that have helped me grow into who I am and who I also hope to be in the future. My experiences start from photography to connection, and finally to confidence. My first experience is with photography. I've always had a love for photography since I was in high school, and I knew that I wanted to pursue it as something more in the future, but I had never felt fully confident in my own abilities to be able to do that until I started taking a photography class at Victor Valley College. Honestly, it was hard at first because it took everything I thought I knew about photography and threw it out the window. But I'm grateful for that because if it wasn't for that class, I wouldn't have learned more about how to work a digital camera as well as capture subjects in a good light regardless of the situation. Now, when I look back at old pictures and I look at my new pictures, I can say that I'm a lot more proud of the work that I'm able to produce. Now, my friends even come to me to capture special moments in their life, which I think is an honor. My second experience is connection. I've always considered myself a person that enjoyed their alone time more than anything, even if that meant not talking to many people. But after taking a public speaking class, I've realized that I actually do enjoy talking with people, even if I don't always look like it. Talking with my classmates and hearing their stories were always enjoyable, and it was even eye-opening because I had heard things that I hadn't experienced myself personally. But I think that's what's nice about meeting new people. You're able to hear a perspective that's different from your own, and hearing those stories that are different from your own can open your worldview to a whole nother part of the world that you never knew existed, which is what connects us. That's what brings us together as humans. And my last experience is confidence. For the longest time, I believed that I enjoyed being at home, enjoyed being in my comfort zone, my safe space. And I didn't see that changing at the time until, unfortunately, my grandpa passed away not too long ago, last year. It was hard. Seeing the person that I spent my whole life around pass before my eyes. And I regret taking him for granted. I regret not enjoying the moments while he was there. But through my grief, I realized that life is short. You're not always guaranteed tomorrow, and you're not even guaranteed a whole day. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life doing nothing, because I know my grandpa wouldn't have wanted that. So for myself and for him, I decided to apply to Victor Valley College. I started in the fall, and now here I am in the spring. Within that time, I've noticed a growth in my confidence, and I've become a lot more open-minded to trying out new things, even if it brings anxiety. An example is now. I would have never seen myself getting up on a stage and giving a speech to a crowd of people, because the idea of getting up and speaking is nerve-wracking. But after a lot of encouragement from friends, I decided to conquer my fear. And now I stand up here giving a speech to everyone, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. So what I've learned over time is that when you're anxious about doing something you've never done, your thoughts can run wild with lots of scenarios, which prevents you from ever trying something new. I know what that's like, and that's what held me back for so long. But I took that first step. I've tried things I wouldn't have tried. I've seen things I would have normally never seen, and I've learned a lot more about myself in that process. And it started at Victor Valley College. The staff, the professors, the activities, and the students have given me the courage to step outside of my small space and to see the bigger side of things. All these experiences have shown me that growth in myself, and it all happened because of Victor Valley College. It takes one step to change everything, and I believe that it's important that we choose to explore, because those adventures are what makes us who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Sienna, for that touching story. Up next is Sofia Moreno. Sofia is a nursing major who enjoys reading and spending time with her son. Please welcome Sofia.
A meaningful moment for me at Victor Valley College didn't happen in a classroom or during lecture. It happened in the Wellness Center, during a moment when I felt like I had completely lost myself. Being a student is already challenging, but being a mother and a student at the same time, that's a different kind of weight. Every day I'm balancing responsibilities, school, my future, and most importantly, my baby. And somewhere in between all of that, a thought kept creeping into my mind. What if I'm not enough? There was a moment when everything caught up to me. I felt lost, not just stressed, but disconnected. Like I didn't recognize who I was anymore outside of being a mother, a student, someone trying to hold everything together. And that's what led me to the Wellness Center. I remember walking in feeling unsure, like maybe my problems weren't big enough or that I just needed to be stronger. But the moment I stepped inside, everything slowed down. It was quiet, peaceful. For the first time in a while, I felt like I could breathe. And in that space, something shifted. I realized that I hadn't just been overwhelmed. I had been neglecting myself. I had been giving so much of me to everyone else that I forgot I'm a person too. Not just a mother, not just a student, not just a daughter or a friend, but me. That moment in the Wellness Center became more than just a visit. It became a moment where I encountered myself again. I started to reflect who I was before all the pressure, before all the stress. And I remember that I'm a person too, with dreams, emotions, and limits, and that it's okay to acknowledge all of that. Motherhood has taught me strength in ways I never imagined. But that day taught me something just as important. That strength also means allowing yourself to feel, to pause, and to ask for help when you need it. The Wellness Center gave me more than just a quiet place. It gave me permission to slow down, to check in with myself, to remember that my voice matters too. And in a college like Victor Valley, where many of us are carrying invisible responsibilities, family, job, struggles, it's really easy to feel alone. But spaces like that remind us that we're not. That moment didn't magically fix everything. Life is still busy. I still have responsibilities waiting for me every day. But now, I move through it differently. I'm more aware, more grounded, more connected to myself. The Wellness Center helped me understand that being sensitive is not a weakness, but my own power. That I'm not the labels or other people's perceptions. And it helped me realize that we're not in this world to be perfect, but to be human, to live, to feel, and to love. So when I think about a meaningful moment at Victor Valley College, I think about the day I stopped just surviving and started reconnecting with who I am. And if there's one thing I would say to anyone here, it's this. No matter your age, your story, or your past, you belong here. You deserve to grow, to heal, and to build a better future for yourself. Because sometimes the most important thing you can find in college isn't just knowledge. It's yourself. Thank you.
What a beautiful experience from Sophia. Our next speaker is going to be Joshua Benavides. Joshua studies aerospace engineering and enjoys math, chess, and video games in his free times. Let's give it up for Joshua.
Graduating early from my high school and moving to college felt as if I had restarted my life, like starting a new game. Starting fresh in a new area felt foreign and unknown, never knowing what was going to happen next. That's how my first few days at VVC felt. That would soon change in the upcoming events. Meeting new friends like Sophia, Jeff, Sammy, and Danny would change how I viewed college life. Meeting these people around campus, participating and joining in clubs, and building community shaped how I would feel. Sharing tricks and tips to get better and arguing over who's a better player lifted the weight of uncertainty off of my shoulders and brought me back to earth. My name is Joshua, and this is a story of my most impactful moments here at VVC. As I mentioned before, I graduated from my high school a semester earlier than all of my friends. It took hard work and a community of people backing me up to make it this far. When I walked onto this campus for the very first time, I was nervous and anxious. I was worried about how I would manage my classes and if I was ready to be a college student. Words of doubt swirled around my noggin as I watched for my first class. I was worried if I would be okay in a college setting. It was new and foreign. I found a spot near the lake where I was attempting to take a deep breath and let go of my worries, but they wouldn't shake. So I took them with me to my first class. It was a public speaking class where I would meet Sophia and Sammy. On the first day, I was partnered with Sophia for my introduction speech. While talking about our hobbies, we drew Sammy in, who shared many of our same interests. Together, me and these two new friends would have chatted the entire class away. And before we knew it, we had started to hang out at Club Rush, which took place a few days from then. There were many clubs lined up trying to get people to join. We walked past 3 clubs that we would check out later. However, one caught our eye and we got distracted. It was the gaming club here at VVC that drew me in as Sammy and Sophia followed me. At their table, they had a TV running one of my favorite games. As I walked up, 2 guys had just finished their game and left. When I picked up the controller, it was the first familiar thing I've been around since I started college. That was my first interaction with Gaming Club, and it would not be my last. Sitting there was Danny and Jeff. Jeff introduced himself and challenged me to the game. We played, and before I even knew it, Club Rush was over. Before I left, Danny said that they played games like this at their Friday meetings. My first meeting was the experience that drove my uneasiness out of the door. When I walked into club, it was an instant click. Gaming and laughter echoed throughout the room. Walking up to new people and asking them to join was a very new experience for me. I've always been used to playing and learning new things alone. It felt great to laugh and chat with the other club members. It would be the best 3 hours I've experienced at this college. This community was so welcoming and open to having someone new join. It felt like a safe point for me to unwind after a week of stressing over classes. This is why I try to reach out more and more, to be as opening and as welcome as they are. This was my new community, turning this college from a place unfamiliar into a safer place, my place to belong. Building community with people who share the same hobbies and interests impacted how I viewed college life. At first, this campus was an uneasy and new place to be. It felt as if I didn't belong, where no one I knew was around. After this series of events, something foreign became familiar. These moments made my life here at VVC much more fun and interesting, and most importantly, into a safer space. A place where I wanted to be, and a place that I felt like I belonged. To end my story, meeting Sophia and Sammy at public speaking class, meeting Jeff and Danny at Club Rush, and experiencing what it's like to have a community on campus with Gaming Club made my most memorable moments here at VVC.
Next is Jaylene Barahana. Jaylene is an animation major who enjoys storytelling, creativity, and anime, especially One Piece.
Doing easy things creates a hard life, while doing hard things creates an easy life. A quote from Keliche Menike. Now, college is not anything easy, but this quote applies to what I'm talking about in a different way than you might expect. At first, I chose something because it seemed realistic, instead of choosing something that I found passion in. So as a high school dual enrollment student, I have not been able to take many classes, but even with this small experience I've learned so much about myself, what I want versus what I don't want. And college helps you decide what you want and don't want to do. And either way, these experiences shape your confidence. So today, I will be talking about my experience choosing the realistic path, how that choice didn't work when I tested it, and how it helped me realize what I actually want. So choosing a realistic path. So ever since I was a little girl, I love storytelling. I would make these dolls, playing with them, uploading videos, and creating these storylines. And I've just loved shows, movies, and fiction overall. When I got older, I had an interest in fashion, so I took this non-credited sewing class at the college with my grandma, and I went in very excited, but it ended up not being for me at all. My grandma would have to drag me to class. And later in 10th grade, I took an art class for general ed. I enjoyed it way more. Learning about the complexity of art really took an interest in me. Then I started thinking about my future. I thought about cooking. I told myself, why not? I love food, and if I choose culinary as my major, I'll at least get a stable job working at a restaurant in the future. You see, this is my first mistake I made. I tried going for the safe option. I thought it was the more realistic choice. I wasn't thinking about my passion, what my passion could be. I just chose something that made me feel secure. Now, testing that choice, I ended up taking 3 culinary classes. Now, I'm still very grateful I took these classes. The kitchen really taught me a lot, especially on how to use my voice, which helped me a lot as a lifeguard. And also cooking in general. We all need cooking skills. We all can't take takeout all the time, you know? But I also got a small idea of what the industry is like. I noticed patterns on how the professors in my class acted, and I asked my mom, too, who was also in that culinary industry, and she told me it wasn't just my professors in class. That behavior is very common in that field. So I asked myself, am I that passionate about cooking that I would want to put myself in this environment every day? No. I realized I just saw cooking as something fun, not as something I wanted as a career. And I want to be clear, there was nothing wrong with the professors or the class. It just wasn't a right fit for me, you know? In the end, this helped me realize I didn't want to major in culinary. So reaffirming what I actually wanted. Even before I took these culinary classes, I had thought about going into animation. But I told myself I would have to learn how to draw, that's hard. Then the more I watched shows, read manga and comics, I realized I wanted to do the same. I wanted to create and animate shows, but I kept thinking it was unrealistic. I thought, what if it doesn't work? What if it's not successful? So I chose to do cooking as it felt more realistic to me. But now I understand something. I chose what felt realistic over what I actually wanted, and it didn't work. Now I'm learning how to draw. I am actually passionate about it. And a show that really inspired me is One Piece, which college also helped me connect with people who have the same interests as me. And Monkey D. Luffy once said, "It's not about if I can. I'm doing this because I want to." So you could say college journey so far has taught me a lot. And I'm still a junior in high school, so I'm just getting started. I talked about the paths I started to choose, how that didn't work out for me, and how I found out what I really wanted. I don't regret any of the classes I took. I needed those experiences to learn. And it's crazy because the answer was right in front of me the whole time. I've always had a passion for storytelling. I just needed that push to realize it, and college gave me that push. All these classes I took were a very meaningful experience at VVC for me. They showed me what I did and what I didn't want. And one more quote from Monkey D. Luffy to sum this perfectly up that describes my college experience. If you don't take risks, you can't create a future. Thank you.
I hope everyone is having a good time. How's it going, everyone? We've had some amazing speakers thus far, and now we have Grace Wright. Grace studies religious studies and enjoys reading history and spending time with friends. She says the people at VVC have made her experience especially meaningful. Please welcome Grace.
All right, hello everyone, and thank you for coming here today. I appreciate you all showing up for this event. So, for me, being homeschooled, I missed a lot of opportunities and experiences that people would otherwise go through being in school. From prom, to making friends in high school, to graduation, clubs. Graduation more specifically because of COVID as well as other things. But coming to VVC, I came here with expectations and hopes of things I could experience and things I could go through. My name is Gladys Wright, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite experience at VVC. I want to talk to you about 7 things that I have experienced that I enjoyed the most here coming to VVC. So, when I came to VVC, I came here with the goal to become a lawyer. I was expecting to go through the criminal justice program and get my associate's degree and eventually move on to becoming a lawyer. But along the way, I joined a history class because I wanted to study more in that and become more aware because I loved history. It was one of my favorite things to study growing up. And meeting that teacher and learning that I was actually really good at history and becoming more involved in that, it influenced my path a lot. I switched from criminal justice to wanting to be a history teacher. From switching my path, I've learned a lot more things along the way in the classes I've taken. Being able to meet that history teacher and for him to lead me and encourage me in what I knew, that was an experience I hadn't had being homeschooled. It was having outside validation in what I knew. Going into public speaking my first year here, I had learned to be able to speak and have a voice and to speak things in large groups of people when I was otherwise nervous and scared to. Being able to do that was something I had never seen myself being able to do, not in a million years. That was the second thing. We have far more to go. And then my third experience, clubs. Being able to come to VVC and being able to participate in clubs. Being able to be a secretary on a club, the Seed Campus Ministry. I am on there, and I was expecting to join to just be another name on the roster to help them become a club. But from there, I moved on to speaking to people in there, to be able to talk to them about the Bible and everything else. That was something I never expected to do. Coming here, I've done a lot more things when it comes to speaking to people, extending myself out and being more present and being more a part of things I never knew I could be. It has helped me to step out of my comfort zone and to find new ways to affect people's lives and hope to help them in different things. And that was something I had always hoped to do. Going into English, I have found a new love in writing, a love that I didn't know that was there. I had always hated writing. I hated my own writing. And having an English teacher tell me, your writing's beautiful, your writing's full of soul, your writing is something that people need to read, was something that I needed to experience to be able to write more and to be encouraged in that. Being able to be a part of the school and to reach out and do things that I never expected to do, to talk to people I had never expected to talk to reach lives I had never expected to be able to reach, even within a year, is a great experience and the most amazing experience that I could have asked for. Seeing myself grow in these things, both personally, academically, and as a friend, are things that I never dreamed were possible, that were experiences that I got to be here. And I praise the Lord that He brought me here. He knew I needed to be here. He knew what I needed to grow in. And I'm just so happy that I was able to experience those things, to grow in those things here at VVC. Thank you all for being here, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Grace, for that amazing story. Next, we have Sophia Burns. Sophia is a liberal arts major who enjoys music, violin, and video games. Please welcome Sophia to the stage.
Being a new student at a new school is an incredibly surreal and terrifying experience, especially when it comes to your first semester at college. Everything is terrifying, yet exciting and foreign and familiar. This is only a small glimpse into how I felt when I first started my journey here. During my first few weeks here, I was able to make a friend, Dom, however, that offered an empathetic ear for me. And soon, together, we were able to create a habit that turned into my most meaningful moment here. Something so simple as sharing an order of carne asada fries in our cafe and talking about various things was able to become incredibly special to me because he was there for me during an incredibly confusing time. I have only been a student here for 3 semesters, my first time on campus being in the fall of 2025. Being fresh out of high school and not seeing any familiar faces, I was plagued with anxiety, nerves, and feelings of isolation and loneliness. At the time, my friends had either transferred to another university or had attended VVC but had conflicting schedules that did not allow us to see one another. And being as awkward as I am, making friends is a bit of a challenge. So with all of these factors, it was really easy for me to feel lonely and just out of place. I would constantly go to school and just leave as soon as all of my classes were over, having no motivation to even get up out of bed some days and get ready for the day. At that time, these feelings were very hard for me to get through. Until one day, I met someone named Dom. I was walking to my orchestra class and had just finished crossing the street when I ran into him. I originally planned to just walk by like normal and continue on with my day when he called after me. We got to chatting and we had exchanged numbers and said our goodbyes. I was originally excited about this potential new friend, but a little anxious and distant in case we didn't quite click. However, a couple days later, he texted me and invited me on a tour around our campus. And since I had no idea where anything was, I took him up on the offer. At the end of the tour, he invited me inside our cafe, and there we sat down, and he ordered a plate of carne asada fries and offered to share them with me. Eventually, we got to talking about anything and everything. Nerdy shows we were both into, different games we played, interesting life stories, everything under the sun. Eventually, we got comfortable enough with one another to tease each other for our different tastes and talk about difficulties transitioning from high school to our new lives here at college. The more we talked, the more I felt understood and seen. I had learned that Dom had been feeling the exact same way that I did, isolated and alone. I had just gotten lucky enough to meet someone who had been feeling the same way I did, and we were able to connect about it. Why I ended up stealing most of the fries that day, I realized I now had exactly what I was striving for, an empathetic ear and someone to talk to and just connect with. I had made a genuine friend right there in the college cafe, and all of my worries and anxieties had melted in an instant. All it took was getting to meet someone as amazing as Dom was and stealing all of his food. Something so simple as sharing an order of fries and talking ended up being my most meaningful moment because I was finally able to have that sympathetic ear, that person to share interests and stories with, and something to look forward to after my classes that wasn't just the opportunity for a nap. No longer did I feel out of place or felt that I had nothing to show for here. I had a piece of motivation to get up in the morning and make it through the day. Looking back on it now, I know it is not the most glamorous or exciting tale or even that interesting of a meaningful moment story, but I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Our next speaker is Lily Dury. Lily studies philosophy and enjoys sewing, doing nails, and being involved in the VVC community. Let's give her a round of applause.
My most memorable experience at Victor Valley College wasn't just one moment. It was a feeling of being completely lost and then slowly finding my place here. I started college at 16 years old after being homeschooled since I was 11. My life was just me at home working on my own schedule, and while that taught me independence, it didn't prepare me for what it feels like to be surrounded by people again, or to step into a place where you have to learn how to interact, adjust, and belong in a completely new environment. At first, this experience didn't feel exciting. It felt terrifying, but over time, that feeling started to change. I still remember how difficult the first day of class was for me. I was walking around trying to figure out where to go, and I felt so out of place, physically and mentally. I didn't know anyone, and it felt like everyone else already understood everything, and I was the only one trying to figure it all out. Coming from being homeschooled made this even harder. Most people go from high school into college, which is already a transition into the real world, but I didn't get to take that step. And since my classes weren't even on the main campus, it made everything feel even more confusing, like I was stuck in between two worlds and didn't fully fit into either one of them. That moment was really hard for me, but it became a turning point. One of the most important moments for me was when I talked to my American government professor. I told him the truth, that this was my first time being in a real classroom in years, and I was struggling to keep up. But what mattered most to me was what he said. Instead of making me feel embarrassed, he was understanding. He told me I wasn't alone and that he was there for me when I needed him. For the first time, I didn't feel judged. I felt supported, and that made me realize that college was made to help students, but only if you're willing to ask for the help. After that, I started using tutoring and office hours more, and I realized how much those resources actually helped me learn. At first, I didn't really talk to people because I felt out of place, but I started to see that all of the students here, or at least most of them, were struggling just like me. My classmates were friendly, funny, and open, which made it easier for me to start learning how to socialize again. The community that this college has given me made everything feel less scary and more like a place where I can actually grow. And that started to change how I saw myself in this environment. Little by little, I became more confident. I started asking questions and speaking up more. I stopped feeling like I had to be perfect just to belong here. When I finally stepped onto the main campus for the first time, I was still nervous, but it felt different. I wasn't completely lost anymore. I knew where to go, I knew how to get help, and I was starting to feel more comfortable around people instead of shutting down around them. Over time, I started to feel like I actually belonged here, not because everything became easy, but because I was learning how to manage it all. And that was something I never felt before. Looking back, what stands out the most isn't how crazy the beginning was. It is how much I've grown since then. So when I really think about it now, this experience isn't just about me adjusting to college. It's about me learning how to become an adult and use the resources this college provides me to grow into the person that I want to be. Even though I started out feeling like I didn't fit in, I can see now that I was just learning how to find my place here. And now I finally feel like I have, thanks to Victor Valley College.
Okay, up next is Alexis Suarez Lopez, a double major in psychology and communication studies, and Alexis enjoys learning, educational content, and campus involvement. Let's give it up for Alexis.
Hello. So the most meaningful experience I've had as a student at VVC is joining one of the school clubs on campus. They're one of the clubs. It gave me a sense of community, lifelong friendships. It taught me the importance of community and friendships also. It even gave me the opportunity to become leader, and also helped me to help me find part of my purpose in life. Before coming to VVC, during my senior year of high school, I struggled with loneliness and finding my purpose in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go after high school, and until I took my first few steps coming here to VVC. Coming here to VVC, they had many resources for me here, and it was really cool. Most of those resources, like to mention, was the academic counseling. They helped me a lot and set up my schedules and be able to take the classes that interest me and that lead me to where I need to be. And also another thing were the professors here on campus. They've also helped me out. Most of them became some of my mentors to help me, which were a huge blessing for me in my life. But the one most impactful thing for me was one of the school clubs here. There are many amazing clubs here on campus. I wish I could do all of them, but I'm just a single person. But they're really cool. To name a few, it's like the Unidos Club, the Black Student Union Club. They're pretty amazing clubs. But the one club that I had a strong desire and interest in was the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship Club. It has helped me to build those lifelong friendships in my life, and has also helped me to be able to become a leader. It was quite interesting. This is actually my third and last year with them before graduation, and through their Christian club, I've like mentioned, gained lifelong friends. And it's taught me the importance of leadership, which taught me that being a leader is about serving the community, being there for others who may need help, or be a listening ear to them, or even give them an encouraging word, or just be a friend. And although my time here at Victor Valley College is coming to an end, all the skills, resources, and lessons I've learned through the VVC's Christian Club, I will use to serve my community in whatever community I go to next after VVC, or even in the four-year community too, and within the workforce too. And so last thing I'd like to end is with a quote by this religious leader named Paul in around the time 61 and 62 AD. He one time wrote, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it into completion. Thank you.
Let's give Alexis another round of applause for graduating. That's awesome. Next, we have Cara Carroll. Cara studies real estate and enjoys gardening, arts, and crafts, and spending time with her animals. Please welcome her to the stage.
Life has a way of showing you things that you never thought you'd see. It also has a way of taking turns that are unexpected, which we all know so very well. Well, today I want to introduce you to who I am, and my name is Cara, and this is my 3rd year here at Victor Valley College. I graduated from Apple Valley Adult School with my high school diploma in 2023, and I walked the stage here at Victor Valley College. And that opened my eyes to a whole new world of education. And from that day on, I continued. For the next 2 years, I received my associate's degree in business in 2015 last year. And that brings me here today. With continuing my education, I will be receiving my associate's degree in communication and also in real estate. So that means I'll be walking the stage for a 2nd time as a Victor Valley College graduate in 2026. Born and raised in the toughest gang-affiliated parts of South Central Los Angeles, I never even thought I'd see myself as a college student. Before graduating high school, attending Victor Valley College has been me just being a mom and taking care of everyone else that's around me. But the most important person was my son. And he was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy and had a heart transplant at the age of 6 years old in the year of 2003. I also have 2 adult daughters, and I had to take care of my dad, who also had congestive heart failure. I was last on my list. I was a day-to-day person, working hard, trying to make ends meet. On March the 7th, 2015, my life changed. My son passed away at the age of 19. 2 months later to the day, my dad passed away. Grieving is a process that no one can prepare you for. I've been doing my best to thrive and succeed ever since. Finding Victor Valley College in 2023 has been the best thing for me that changed my life. The meaning of me attending school has been the best positive thing in my life. Being a student here has also shown me that family is more than just being blood related. It is including the ones that are around you, that care for you, and that believe in you. And I found that here at Victor Valley College. Being told from students and teachers that my voice have meaning and to carry weight has opened doors and made me feel very enlightening and encouraging, and it's motivated me to continue my future with moving forward. Having been treated as family here at this college has been the most meaningful experience. Coming from so many traumatic situations and attending Victor Valley College has been a life event that changed my life for the better. I would like to thank all the counselors in access, also the counselors in EOPS for helping me place the correct classes that I needed in line for me to reach my goals. At the top of my list, I'd like to thank my teacher, Ms. Kay, for helping me with my communication skills, with helping me by encouraging me to be able to introduce myself to you today. Thank you so very much for your time, and I appreciate you.
I don't know about you, but I'm on an emotional ride today. The speech contest always brings out all kinds of emotions. With that being said, up next is Sarah Allred. Sarah is a sociology major. She loves reading and enjoys studying communication. Let's hear it for Sarah.
The first time that I saw my dad get high, I was 8. The first time that I got locked up, I was 15. The first time that a man beat me up, I was 17. The first time that I sold drugs, I was 19. The first time that I witnessed a murder, I was 26. And the first time that I attended college was here in 2025. I was 47 years old. I am an inmate at Victorville Federal Prison, serving a 19-year prison sentence. To say that my life has been paved with meaningful experiences is a gross understatement. But the one I want to tell you about today is how the daughter of 2 drug addicts, who became a drug addict herself and then a criminal, found her self-worth at Victor Valley College. For most of my life, I have struggled, feeling like I didn't belong and that I wasn't good enough. I was always searching for ways to feel accepted, finding myself in one abusive relationship after another, being physically and verbally beaten down until I believed I was worthless and had no purpose. I struggled with addiction. I struggled with drugs, I struggled with depression, turning to drugs as a solution, and what started off as a way for me to cope turned into a disastrous lifestyle. My existence and moral compass spiraled. Interventions didn't stick. My family tried everything they could. My father enabled me because he could relate to my addiction, and my mother asked no questions every time I asked her to stash a bag of cash in her closet. Trying tough love, my grandmother had me committed while fighting me in court for my children. I tried rehabs, shelters, and churches. Nothing worked. I couldn't break the cycle. But all of that stopped mattering the day the U.S. Marshals kicked in my front door. That was the day that my whole life changed. I was facing 30 to life, and I got 19. I am now in my 10th year of being incarcerated. I've been sober for 9 years, and I call my family every day, and I know in my soul that I am lucky to be alive. I am lucky to be in prison, and I am lucky to be a part of the first program in U.S. history where you can attend in-person classes while still serving a prison sentence. I am lucky to be telling my story. I started school while incarcerated to put distance between me and the one career I know will be waiting for me when I get out, selling drugs. But I can see now that college itself isn't what I needed. What I needed was Victor Valley College. And what I found here are professors who don't judge me, who don't treat me like a criminal, and who encourage me to chase the same opportunities as everyone else. Their generosity of time has made me feel seen and heard in a way that I have rarely experienced. Aubrey, Lizette, and Fernando, with the Justice Involved Education Program, have been with me during some of my hardest moments. They listen to me when I am overwhelmed with the basic job of reconnecting with society, and they see worth in me when I cannot see it in myself. And they also intuitively seem to understand something that most of society can't, that you never know the one time that you support someone will be the one time that makes it possible for them to finally and permanently get their head above water. I stand here before you today stronger because of the strength that they lend me. It is because of their selfless and somewhat delusional belief that this time will be different, that I will be different. And every day I borrow that belief, and little by little, I'm starting to feel proud of myself. I am starting to trust my own decision-making, and I am starting to see that I have value. For years, I thought my story was already written, that I had gone too far and made too many mistakes. When I was 18, the thing I was best at was being a mom. And when I was 28, the thing I was best at was getting high. When I was 38, the thing I was best at was selling drugs. And now, at 48, the thing I am best at is life. And that has been the most meaningful part of this whole experience. At college, in prison, I have finally found my self-worth. Thank you.
Ooh, powerful. All right, so next we have Samantha Soto. Samantha is a fine arts major who enjoys drawing and spending time with friends. If we can give a round of applause for Samantha, please.
Nobody likes to feel lonely, right? I know I don't. But you'll soon understand why I've come to terms with that. For the longest time, I've always believed that I needed to be around people in order to not feel lonely. So I tried to make as many friends as I could as soon as I got to college. But even with so many people I know, being lonely is all I felt. I guess I just never liked the fact that I was never anybody's favorite person. I was never the first they'd want to talk to or even just share things about. But people are allowed to like who they like. I just wish people looked happy to see me at least. But I guess I do tend to talk people's ears off. So I stopped talking just to see if anyone would reach out and talk to me and ask how I was doing. I mean, is it so wrong to want the same kind of energy I give to everyone else? Then again, I don't blame them. I am how others describe as childish and innocent. I have the mindset of a 5-year-old because I don't swear, I don't have social media, and I don't understand nor make jokes about drugs and sex. So I guess I am pretty boring. Not to mention, I'm not really an overachiever who tries to take every opportunity VVC has to offer. I'm just going to school to get an education. I mean, I'm 21 and I'm friends with 17-year-olds who still go to high school and are in college. There's a few people I know who transferred to Cal State already. But that doesn't bother me because I'm genuinely happy for those who are doing so good in life. And just because younger people are succeeding better than I am, it doesn't mean I won't succeed at all. Even with all of that, all I could think of was living up to others' expectations and how they felt, because I just wanted to feel like I mattered to someone. But over time, I decided to distance myself. I figured if I felt so lonely in a room full of people I know, leaving that space would make me feel better. I didn't know where to go. That's when I found myself at VVC's library. I only needed to go there to record something, and I remembered how you could reserve a study room. So I went in. It was quiet. And after I was done with my work, I decided to stay until my time was up. And it was still so quiet. I was alone. And it was nice. I felt like I could actually breathe for the first time. Like I didn't need to worry about anything else or anyone else. With no one to talk to, I could only think to myself. For so long, I've always been concerned about how others felt that I never actually considered my own feelings. Being alone wasn't so bad. I felt like my mental state was improving bit by bit. But most importantly, it made me realize just how hard I tried to fit in, only for my efforts to not matter in the end. Because people were never going to see me as anything more than an innocent child. That was the reality check I needed. And one day, I cried. I cried in that study room because I was allowed to. Because sometimes you just need a moment to yourself to get everything off your chest. So, when you ask me what the most meaningful experience I've had at VVC, it's not the aid you get from faculty. It wasn't any of the opportunities I saw on the flyers all over the school. It wasn't anything from any event I've ever been to at this college. No. It was being alone and realizing that that's not always a bad thing. And it's not selfish either. Nobody is going to make me feel bad for finally wanting to take care of myself. I had been feeling pretty hopeless lately, like anything I did didn't matter, like I wasn't good enough, and the thought of telling anyone how I felt scared me. But I'm okay now, because I took care of it on my own. Can a 5-year-old understand that? Thank you.
Our final speaker today is Crystal Scott. Crystal is studying psychology and values faith, family, and community. Please welcome Crystal to the stage.
Inspiration, strive, believe, drive, dream, desire, hope, myself, purpose, perseverance, faith. These are the words that I carry with me that have helped shape my answer to the question, what is the most meaningful experience as a student that I've had here at Victor Valley College? My name is Crystal Scott. I started my journey here at Victor Valley College in 2014. I was a 26-year-old stressed out single mom of 7 children under the ages of 10. At the time, my 7-year-old son had been diagnosed with oppositional defiance disorder. He was and is my main inspiration for beginning my college journey towards attaining my associate's degree for psychology. I strive to become an ABA therapist to help children and families who experience developmental and emotional challenges. I had signed up for classes here at Victor Valley College, and things were going swell. I hit the ground running. Boom, first 3 semesters flew by. By my 3rd semester's end, I had the highest GPA that I've ever had in my academic career, a 4.0. I achieved this while raising my children and working full-time. I was excited, I believed, I was driven, I dreamed. I could see myself walking across the stage accepting my degree, my kids cheering me on. Only 5 semesters remain. In the fall of 2015, mid-semester, I experienced my first setback. My living situation became unsafe, and I had to make the difficult decision to abruptly leave for the safety and well-being of my children and myself. This interrupted my in-person learning for the semester. At the time, I was a very reserved type of person, and I did not notify the school of my challenges. What was I going to do? How could I continue? I had no idea. I decided to drop the courses. I would try again next semester. Shortly after beginning classes in spring of 2016, I experienced domestic violence. My life was threatened. I took my children and we entered a domestic violence shelter. I was not allowed outside contact for 30 days for our safety. That included no school. I felt so crushed. However, I had to do what I had to do.
My desire to earn my degree someday remained. Spring semester of 2020, I started. My children and I had just survived being homeless for 6 months and had been blessed with a new home and hope. I started spring 2020 semester strong. Then COVID-19, lockdown, shelter in place. I had become overwhelmed and dropped my classes again. I decided I'd just wait until my kids were 18 years old. I could then focus on myself. This brings us to the answer of what has been the most meaningful experience that I've had as a student at Victor Valley College. Right now. Right now is the most meaningful experience that I've had as a student at Victor Valley College. After experiencing so many continued challenges, I decided I will not wait. My time is now. The world is not going to stop because I'm experiencing challenges. Part of my purpose is to persevere. With my continued faith, I'm on the path to graduate in 2027. I'm grateful for the support from many VVC departments and faculty, such as EOPS, who have made it possible for me to get my books and who have helped me register for my classes for the remainder of my time here at VVC. My professors who are available and openly communicate and encourage me on my toughest days. To the awesome library team who are so knowledgeable and go above and beyond in helping me with things like operating the copy machine because I'm not tech savvy. And to the wonderful communications department for their positivity, guidance, and support. Thank you.
Alrighty. We'd like to thank all of our speakers once again for the preparation, effort, and confidence that they brought to this stage. Every person who spoke today took a risk in sharing their voice, their ideas, and part of themselves with this room, and that deserves to be recognized.
Public speaking takes vulnerability and trust in yourself. It is not easy to stand in front of an audience and speak with intention, especially in a setting like this. Each of our speakers should feel incredibly proud of what they have accomplished today.
We'd also like to thank our audience for being here and supporting our students. The encouragement in this room today truly makes a difference, and we appreciate the energy and respect you gave each speaker throughout today.
And finally, thank you all for spending a part of your day with us for supporting the Communication Center. At this time, we're going to take a few minutes to tally the judges' scores, and we'll be back shortly to announce the winners.
All right, let's give our contestants a round of applause. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming today and telling your story here at VVC. We appreciate you putting your vulnerability out there and letting know how powerful VVC is and impactful to your lives. I'm going to be reading some names. These names are not in any particular order until we get down to the last 6. We have some special gift cards for individuals who didn't necessarily make top 4, but we have some special goodies for you, so they'll be in that particular order, okay? I'm going to name your first names, not your last names. So when you come on up, if there's 2 Sophie, so if I say Sophie B, that's you, right? And then Sophie M, where are you? Okay, so listen for that, okay? All right, let me flip that around. First one is Grace Wright. Samantha. And don't leave anywhere because Miss Kay needs all the pictures, okay? Sophia M. Alexis. Lily. Jaylene. Okay, I think we're getting to the top individuals. Zachary. Thank you. I do have goodies for you, so before you leave, please come and see me and Ray so we can give these to you, okay? Yes? Yeah? Okay. All right. I just want to say something really quick about this individual. I have them in my public speaking class, and to see your growth has been just amazing. And I just want to thank you so much for participating for this. Joshua. Another person I want to recognize is Sienna Hall. You did wonderful. I don't know you personally, but you did an amazing job. All right, so here it is, folks, the top 4. All right, for our 4th place winner, Cara. Okay, for our 3rd place winner, Crystal Scott. For our 2nd place winner, Sophia Burns. I also have her in my class. And 1st place winner, Sarah. To our spring 2026 speech contest. We're going to have this next semester, so we hope you come and enjoy us then. Again, my name is Leslie Murillo. I go by Miss K, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming.